Hello. Hello, okay, kitty. Yeah, the rain's let up. It's rained for the last 2 or 3 days. And we really needed it. It was pretty dry. Yeah, it's around dinner time. This guy's usually sleeping right now. Well, okay, in here I moved the two cobalts away from the door a couple days ago or yesterday, and drove my other regular car down, because I had these were they're not even 2 years old, so I jacked it up and pulled them out, and you can see I got my brakes done. I still have to make my line and put my flex line on and hook it up. But anyway, not sure what kind of paint I should paint on that for it to stay. But here, when I had this all loose and both these bushings in here, the nut was loose, so that dropped down quite easy and the bushing moved. After I had my shocks and my springs back in and the shocks hooked up, I put the jack underneath on one side and jacked it up, and it went roughly halfway in the travel before it went light on the jack, and then I torqued that bolt. I torqued it at 85. I think it's supposed to be a little tighter, but I torqued it at 85. It's like a 7/16 stud, and that's usually 85/90, and a half-inch stud it would be 100. So I torqued it at 85, and then I took my jack around, dropped it. I did one side at a time, because when you jack up both sides, it just barely goes up in the suspension and it's off the jack stand. So to get this rubber to be in the middle of the range, I jacked up one side halfway till it went light, and then I torqued it, and then I dropped the jack, went around to the other side and did the same. So the bushings are centered to be tight to twist on the rubber. So anyway, awkward as old crap, but I managed to get the gas tank up in. I didn't, since the filter that came off, it wasn't overly dirty and everything's in good shape on it. I did not take the fuel pump out and drain the tank. It has about a quarter of a tank, so that made it a little harder. But I just put it in here. Of course, I had to drop my exhaust after all this, but it was not that the gas, it didn't hurt it, because I just loosened it off or took the bolts out and the gasket came out. It's never been used, so I didn't even break the seal. So anyway, I worked it up on these blocks, and you have to be kind of careful. Let me see, right there, all these plastic nylon lines and spout sticking out. You have to be extra careful around this rear end thing, not to break anything or pinch anything off. And so that took extra time, and I had to put this end up in first, and then I worked it up on the block stands, and then I put my jack there and hooked up my gas line. So now I'm about to put my new gas tank straps on. They were brand new silver metal, so I just gave them a couple coats of lacquer silver. There's my bolts that I'll put some Loctite on, and There's my other gas tank strap. And as you can see, I got the jack stand not where these straps went, I believe. Yeah, this one's a little close, but I can move it over. But anyway, there's the bolt hole. But I got a new filter, and I got lots of copper line and fittings for my new line. But anyway, I got this on. I put a little bit of like old creep oil on this just so it slide in good, because up in there I didn't want to wrestle with it. But anyway, now I can put my gas tank straps on and start hooking things up. Also, when I took all this down, there was a hole right here between these two thick pieces of metal. So I had, that's 16th of an inch thick, this piece. So I welded that in and gave it a quick coat of paint. But anyway, there's my relatively new springs in. I have the ones that came off the car had the extra coils at the top, and I had this done at a garage a couple years ago, a friend, and he does them often, and he put it in so that the extra coils were on the bottom. Now, since he did it, I just left it, because the problem with these springs is they break. Maybe he found if you put the small end or the extra coils at the bottom, they don't break as often. But all I know is if I put, we'll say, 10 bags of cement in the trunk and drive home, and I hit a bump, I'll break both springs. These springs, like out of those two cars out in the yard, there's a couple broken springs. But anyway, I took the rusty springs off this car and put on my everyday car and tightened it all back up so I'm still driving. And I put my new springs here. So anyway, I'm kind of happy, and I'm very happy I got that gas tank up in without any damage. But I did have to unhook. I did have to unhook the exhaust. Anyway, see you later.